I'm David McIntosh, and I'm welcoming you to the first installment of our course in behavioral economics. Today is an introduction, and I hope that over the course of the next hour, you get a sense of what some of the key issues and insights are of behavioral economics. And then as we go on subsequently in other modules, we'll drill down into both the research underlying a lot of these findings and the takeaways and to-dos that will have some applicability for you. The session is, as I said, an introduction. Uh, when we talk about behavioral economics, in some sense, it's a discussion of not the perfect world of theoretical economics, but the actual world that we all live in. And if you're anything like us, you occasionally make decisions that somebody might say are less than rational, but they may have been perfectly sensible decisions. It's squaring these two elements that we want to get a better handle on. Behavioral economics draws on insights from psychology, really in the last 20 or 30 years. The biggest insight is that we have different modes of thinking, fast and slow, automatic and thoughtful. And both of these go into our decision making. But if we understand how they play, when they play, and what the shortcomings of each are, we'll all be able to make better, more informed, more profitable decisions. So we're not telling you answers to anything, but we are giving you a way of looking at it, in some sense, a guideline for thinking about how you think. Today we've got two instructors. Myself, I'm David McIntosh. I am a MBA by training, a management consultant by profession, and an educator in sessions like this and with executive sessions around the country. I'm joined today by my colleague John Fay, whom I'll ask to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm John. I was trained as an economist, spent a good chunk of my career as a business strategy consultant, and over the last 15 years or so have focused on executive and management education.
Here's what we're going to cover in the next hour or so. First, we're going to talk some about neoclassical economics, the economics that you might have learned in college. This is idealized, and it's about making the best of what you're given. It's about maximization fundamentally. We'll talk about a second type of economics, which some of you have exposure to. Well, actually, you all know about these topics, but you may not have heard them described as managerial economics. But managerial economics includes the set of tools that are used for, in essence, applied economics and decision making. If you use discount rates and net present value to determine an investment and what it's worth in the future, you're using an element of managerial economics. And then finally, we'll be talking about evidence that we've seen in behavioral economics about ways that people are irrational, and to some extent, what are the underlying causes for that irrationality. I mentioned a second ago that we will look at both thinking fast and slow, or other term for this is system one and system two thinking. They both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses. To recognize when one is going on versus the other will be incredibly useful to you. And then finally, we'll talk about the notion of bounded rationality, which is to say, making decisions when you don't have all the time in the world, which frankly is almost always the case. So that's what we're going to be covering in the next hour.